Have you ever noticed that the most common response we get when we ask people, hey, how you doing? Is often, man, I'm just so busy. Or I'm just really tired, right? It's amazing. Consistently across the board. That's the most common responses we get from people. And they're right. It's not like they're lying. I mean, because we live our lives at such a high pace where we are so busy. We got so many things going on in our world. And in the 168 hours that make up our weeks, we got to work, we got to sleep, we got to eat, we got to run a bunch of errands, we got all kinds of other things that, bills to pay and jobs to do around the house. And then there's the extracurricular stuff that we like to do, whether it's musical or, you're artistic or you play sports or whatever that might be. And we spend our lives so busy doing all this stuff that we feel like it's almost impossible to be a great employee, a really good husband, a great dad, and a healthy person all at the same time. It's almost impossible. We feel like there's never enough time in the day or in the week to actually do those things well. And this creates a tension and a pressure. And oftentimes we feel like the way to resolve that tension or pressure is to just seek out balance. If only I could balance work and family and fun. If I could get a balance to all of those things, life would be great. See, I did our world and our culture seems pretty convinced like this is the answer. I did a book search on Amazon.com and over 15,000 titles showed up, book titles with the word balance in the title. I mean, our world seems convinced that balance is the answer to this. And we've come to believe that is true. In fact, it's not. It's a myth. See, what's actually not true about that is that balance conveys a bit of a static notion. Like if we just get things to the exact right level and keep them at that right place in our lives, then everything will be perfect. Everything will work out just right. But that's not true or realistic to life. See, balance is actually elusive because real life isn't balanced. Real life has crisis situations and emergencies that come up. Real life has kids that get sick and cars that break down and things that don't go according to plan or routine. See, real life isn't about balance. It's a myth. It's not true. What I want to suggest is for us to truly experience and become good at balancing work and family and fun and all that stuff, it's better to think about it in terms of rhythm, where we focus additional time and energy on specific things at certain times during the day or during the week or certain months of the year even. And we focus on that and allow then the rhythm and to shift and change daily, weekly, monthly throughout the year. See, rhythm has much more of a dynamic sense to it, where it's constantly in motion. See, as people, we're not these robots who respond exactly the same way in the exact same situations. We're constantly shifting and changing and adapting. And so rhythm is a much better way to approach it and to think about it. See, practically, for example, one of the ways in which I've learned to do this in my own life is for us to understand our own daily rhythms. There's research out now that shows that our optimal times where our brain functioning is highest, where our sharpest thinking occurs, where our productivity and efficiency is highest, is a lot of times related to our body clocks and our body rhythm. So if you spend some time actually paying attention to that, you might tune into those times in the day when you were most effective. And then you could structure your work life around those. For example, I know for me that my most productive hours start about 30 minutes after I get out of bed in the morning. So it starts early in the morning and it lasts 2 to 3 hours, and then I have another spike later in the afternoon. But that morning chunk is my most productive time of the day. So for me, I try and guard that and protect that and use that for work. I try not to do email or other things that don't require my sharpest thinking, in that time. But I leave that for those things that really do require the most focus. And I work hard during those 2 to 3 hours, and I achieve in those 2 to 3 hours what might, take me twice as long to do at another time. And so that's just one way to start paying attention to rhythms and optimizing those rhythms in our lives. We can also start thinking not only daily, but weekly, across our week. What is the kind of rhythm that we need to incorporate across the week? Are there times in the week when we know our family responsibilities are always going to be slightly higher on a certain day of the week? Well, let's plan for that and adjust that, and it takes some intentionality and some effort on our part to adjust work or adjust, the fun schedule a little bit, so that we can be focused on the family on Thursdays because that's when it matters most. Or, We can also do that monthly and annually. See, we all have a busy season at work typically, and we all tend to know about when it is. What months of the year are the busiest at work? You know, whether that be at the beginning of the year or at the end of the year, we all know these are busy seasons. Well, if we give a little intentionality to it up front and communicate that clearly, then our spouse at home and our kids can be a whole lot more understanding if they know, hey, you know what? I'm entering into a season now where for the next 6 weeks, work is just going to be hectic and crazy. And they'll be much more understanding and sympathetic to the fact that your work rhythm needs to become a little more intense during that time. But then we also know when the school holidays hit, and that can be a time where we scale back on work a little bit more and focus more on doing more stuff with the family. And so it takes intentionality, planning, and then actually following through on the plan. So it takes intentionality, but also some action and some initiative on our part. This is not something you can sit back and expect for someone else to do for you. This is something that you got to take the initiative and do for yourself and pay attention to those rhythms. If you play a sport and that's something that you really enjoy doing, if it's rugby or whatnot, well, we know when that season comes around, and it comes around at the same time each year. So you can plan for that and you can plan accordingly for that so that you know, hey, that's going to be a time of year when my rhythm for fun and self-enjoyment stuff is going to be a little more than at other times of the year. And you can compensate for that in ways. So balance is not the answer. Rhythm is a much more helpful way and natural way for us to approach this in our lives. And if you are intentional about it and actually initiate those conversations and the planning and follow through on it, I'm convinced you'll experience that you'll find there is enough time in the week to be great at work, to be a good husband to your wife, a great dad to your kids, and a great person out on the sporting field and with your mates. Hi there, my name's Clint, and if you found this video that you just watched helpful or valuable, then go to the website below where you'll find a whole video series dealing with the pressures and collisions that we often experience between work and family and ourselves and how to stay, healthy and all of that. And through, we've identified 9 of the most common collisions where, work and family collide and how to deal with some of those things. We'll talk about how to become better at what you do in your job so that you earn those promotions and make extra money. We'll talk about how to have an open and honest and loving relationship with your wife that actually makes it feel like she's on the same team as you rather than constantly fighting and working against you, and how to have a fun-filled relationship with your kids that's full of warmth and laughter and great memories while also staying healthy as a person and enjoying good times with your mates and with your friends as a person as well. So go to the website below and you'll find out more about it.